I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Keenan. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like me. And I'm still tryna fight my demons. Cause we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on. Make me put my hands on my head like a Macarena. They want you walking on board like Kima. Ain't give a F to you like John Cena. Putting blood on the brand new Beamer. Tryna earn they stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a Akita. And expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo. Mi gente must really need Jesus. They shed real blood. I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Y'all just talk, don't live it. And just took that route that seen it. Now I'm so outspoken like Reason. Jimmy Neutron, boy, Young G's. And I'm a self-made man out of Sweden. And it's still off top, I'm tweaking. But I still gotta fight my demons. I ain't no good, I'm evil. I ain't been clean since Eden. It's a war going on outside.
That was the best opening music I've ever heard in my life.
All right, what's up? We actually start off with the FanDuel question, Anthony.
We got some FanDuel questions coming in.
Yeah, I actually think I don't know. So I mean, I agree with you. Like you and I were talking this morning. We really haven't talked this week, but our lineups that we were comparing were pretty similar. So it's just another week that I think people are on majority of the same plays, at least on DraftKings. I think FanDuel is a little bit more interesting. I actually think it's a little bit tougher than DraftKings this week. So I'm playing a little bit more there than I normally do. And then I'm playing just more kind of like you said, like more 3-max on DraftKings than just straight cash games. But I actually think FanDuel's a little bit tougher this week than DK.
Yeah, I agree with you. Man, I really like that opening music. Why don't we have that for all of our podcasts, by the way, Ben? Can we get some music like that for all of our podcasts?
Now that we're using this new format, we can use that for everything.
Yeah, so week 17, massive week, 14 game slate. Just in love with this slate, me, myself, personally. I am not really playing as much on FanDuel. I'm just kind of I've been laser focused on the betting markets and the prop markets. We'll get to that. And then, big 3-max entry week for me. I've been kind of going up and down with my volume throughout the last 6 weeks, just on slates that I liked and slates I didn't. I really like this slate. Maybe it's just because there's a few more games. We'll get to your questions. Just start rolling them in, guys, because Ben and I can kind of catch up rapid fire. But let's just start off at the top. DFSkarma.com, betkarma.com. You guys know who you guys have been watching for the number of years now. We do this show every Sunday. We're excited. Happy New Year, right? 2022. It feels like just calendar flips, but nothing changes. If you're looking on the screen, you can see our projections portal. That's a premium product. We have our final thoughts, which is our cheat sheet. We have our core plays, which myself, Ben, my God, Matt, just shout out to him. I don't know if he's listening. I've never seen a person at Karma have a better 2021, a better year in my entire life. And he's transparent and plays his cores that he plays thousands of dollars with. I mean, he must be Ben, well north of 175,000 in winnings this year. I mean, it's incredible the year he had. Hopefully he can keep it going. But you have guys like this that you can tail our cores on the daily fantasy sports side, obviously, at dfskarma.com. And remember, we have all sports, even though we're doing an NFL podcast and the season's kind of ending. NBA, MLB, PGA. It starts soon. That's like my baby. Sam and I really do a ton there. And then betkarma.com. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention all the amazing stuff that's happened in 2021 there. Like right now, throughout the week, Ben, my process is to study the live trends tool, which is free, just to kind of see the line movement. I'm looking right now. Obviously, I got my Brown stuff on today. Interesting to see a lot of the line movement on the Rams, Ben. I mean, of course, that's something induced with quarterback change, but I don't think so because I feel like the market knew that throughout the week. And, we'll talk about the Rams, but obviously, cash gains were all in on the Rams, Sonny Michel, Cooper Kupp. We don't really need to talk about those guys, but I really like Beckham a lot this week is a leverage play. So check that tool out. The props comparison tool is truly fascinating for you prop players. You can use this stuff for Prize Picks, Monkey Knife Fight, and all that. But again, we have the links direct to the legal sports books. Granted that you live in a state that it is legal. So if not, your state will become legal soon. I encourage you to check this out for both NBA and NFL. And then a number of other stuff that's going on over there as well as content. But yeah, let's just start off then. Trey Lance, let's go by kind of position by position, cash game, and then we'll talk about some leverage plays. Trey Lance is the guy, right? And quarterback. I mean, my God, you can't fade him in cash games, correct? I mean, not at all. It's not even a question. He's too cheap.
Yeah. I mean, quarterbacks generally, like we always talk about, score around the same. So it's tough. It's tough to fade someone that's under 5K on DraftKings that realistically has obviously double-digit carries. I mean, the one game he had 16 carries. So, and it's a good matchup against Houston. So yeah, agree. Cash games, you're probably just playing Trey Lance.
I will say, Ben, I actually just asked this to Matt himself, our humble king, that it's interesting dynamic to consider a week like this to really maybe go all in with Lance and, even 3-max stuff. I mean, I'm personally not. It could be a mistake. I keep going back and forth on, again, I'm going to talk 3-max century, my top quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, obviously Trey Lance, and I like Tyler Huntley a ton. I've been playing this guy the last few weeks. Ben, if you remember the Chicago week, I feel like I got some trolling in here. I was on the pod with you live that week. He was $4,000. It turned out he didn't dominate by any means, but I mean, it was the right play, and he continues. And his price is like only $800 more than Trey Lance. I just feel like his ceiling is massive. I love that game environment. I kind of led off with the Rams live trends thing for a reason. I just feel like there's gonna be a ton of points coming in that game in specific, and he's gonna have to play catch up. So I like him a lot. What's your thoughts on some other quarterbacks before we go to running back?
Yeah, I like Huntley. I think you can use him definitely in tournaments. Probably would be like if Lance wasn't so cheap, I think he would be decently owned maybe, or just be getting a little bit more traction. But I agree with him. I know Matt really likes Dak, and I'm pretty heavy on Dak as well. I have him in 2 lineups on DraftKings. It's just a really good spot. He finally has the offensive line at home. Don't have to worry about weather. Obviously, the highest over/under on the slate. Banged up secondary for Arizona. So I think Dak's probably my favorite non-Lance quarterback. But you could make the case for other guys up top as well. Josh Allen, I know the weather there's a little bit sketchy, but against Atlanta, who just can't generate pressure at all against quarterbacks, and then you have the second highest over is that Cincy Kansas City game, and I don't think anyone's really playing guys from that game. It's really weird.
Yeah. Before we move to running backs, keep the questions coming, guys. I promise, Ben, and I can rapid fire. We just like to get a ton of them out the gate. And again, it's fantasy championship weekend, so bring any season-long questions too. You've been a Josh Allen guy, I feel like the last 4 years, Ben. I mean, that's your guy. He is projecting right now our second highest value, even though he's the highest priced quarterback on the slate. We're still projecting him as a big value play, to your point. And I think he will be a little bit lower owned than probably we think and the market thinks. Man, I got a big question for wide receiver, Ben, and I'm going to come back to you on that with Dak because it's got some game theory. It's got some upside. And again, it's got your typical 3-max entry, what you want to do in the flex and the 4 o'clock games. So we'll come back to that. All right, let's go to running back. I'll let you lead off. Talk about, Jonathan Taylor, again, a guy that you've been on, I feel like, ahead of the market. Even last year, you were all in on Jonathan Taylor before he became more widely popular. So why don't you start there, and then we'll work our way down as far as value goes. And I'm pulling up the Karma projections right now for running back.
Yeah, running backs stacked, ton of mid-tier guys that you can get the case for. But I said it on Thursday's podcast, and I'll say it again. I do think Jonathan Taylor's a must play for me this week. Gets his lineman back healthy. It's a must-win game for the Colts, and Vegas is really banged up, specifically at linebacker, which obviously is good. They've actually they've fallen. Like they started out the year like decent against the run, and they're down to allowing the seventh most fantasy points to running backs. They're allowing the seventh most catches as well. Don't have to worry about the backup quarterback with Wentz getting cleared to play. So I do think JT is a must play. And then I think you kind of skip over that next tier. I mean, there's like Joe Mixon in particular, I think is interesting for tournaments, but I think after Jonathan Taylor, you just drop down to that mid tier because there's so many guys you can make the case for. Sony Michel, David Montgomery, Ronald Jones, Darrell Williams, Devin Singletary. I think all five of those guys are like, you can make the case for them in cash games. Me personally, I think I still like Sony the most, followed by Ronald Jones and then Montgomery. I think that's how I would rank them. But I mean, if you're gonna tell, like, if you start talking and you tell me you like Montgomery the most, like I won't blame you. Like I truly think you can make the case for all five of those guys.
Yeah, it's interesting. Usually, I mean, again, even though we're boys throughout the years here, a lot of times we will disagree on these podcasts, correct? I mean, it is what it is. Like, there's a lot of players, and man, I mean, I'm all in with everything you just said. I mean, it's like you hit on the 5 to 6 guys. Those are the only guys I'm playing this week. I'm not really getting cute. Will it be a mistake at the end of the day? Again, I'm kind of alluding to my core plays. We put them up at about an hour before the slate, half an hour at the latest. I'm probably not going to fit Jonathan Taylor in my lineup, although I'm looking at right now the Karma Value, which I think is the number one, tool to look at on our website. He's the projected second most valuable player on the slate for running back, even at his very high price. And I know, Ben, that's probably a route you're leaning in your core play. I just can't fit him right now. But to your point, it's for me, Sonny Michel number one, even though actually Sonny doesn't project as well in our system. I get the Ravens have a good defense, but I like Sonny Michel as my number one ranked. I like Ronald Jones by a wide margin as my second favorite value play of the slate. It's an easy fade, right? Like Ronald Jones is a typical landmine who probably will fail, even though I just said I love him. And, I'll have zero Ronald Jones in my two main tournament rosters. Like it's the easiest like fade in tournaments, in my opinion. That's just a route I'm going. And then you mentioned some of the others like Darrell Williams. I like him a lot in tournament play. David Montgomery for me, I mean, he just fits my lineup really well, my main cash lineup. But again, he's another kind of easy fade for me in tournaments. He is our number one projected Karma Value play of the slate. Trying to think what else, Ben. I mean, you mentioned some of the other guys. I mean, it's those same 5 to 6 guys, and I'm kind of like rotating around a little bit and playing in my main lineups this week.
Yeah, I agree. And then we also need to mention, so I've seen conflicting news on James Conner. I saw a report that said that the Cardinals were optimistic he was going to be able to play, and then I saw a report that said they didn't think he was going to play. We're probably not going to have that news because it's a 425 game, but if he were out, like Chase Edmonds is right in that range as well.
Yeah.
And we would have to consider him for sure if Connor's out.
And before we get to wide receiver, we'll get through it real quick, and then we'll start going through questions and kind of rolling through the pod here the last half an hour. Yeah, that's interesting, and that's why I think this week in specific, maybe it's just because there's 14 games, but I think you got to really watch that flex position for your tournament rosters. I mean, cash games, I don't think it matters as much, but I really think, like to your point right there, I'm really monitoring my builds for the 4 o'clock, which I historically don't do as much, but I've had a weird like year personal life wise. Like I feel like the last like 6 to 8 weeks, man, like my Sundays, like I got baby showers. I don't know, like I'm moving into my new home. So I haven't been using the flex as much, I think, but I think this week it is important to definitely be monitoring that. All right, wide receiver. I kind of hinted some things. Cooper Kupp. We're not talking about Cooper Kupp, Ben. I mean, come on. Like you play him in your main lineup. I mean, I will say this. In my opinion, you can fade him in tournaments. Like again, that could be another bad take by the end of the week. But if you're playing 3 lineups, you just got to weight your main lineup a little bit more. So if Cooper Kupp does what he's probably going to do, you're probably going to win your cash game. Probably not your 2 main hedges, but again, I mentioned like Beckham, right? I love Odell this week. I just feel like he's going to torch this secondary. He's seen them at least once. He's obviously been a division opponent the last few years. And dude, what if this is the Beckham, 120 2 touchdown game? I mean, Cup's not going to hit value, and you can have an amazing leverage on the field because Beckham's looking like he's going to be 3% owned today. That's one of my favorite plays of the slate. Before we talk about like a couple other chalk guys, Antonio Brown, I'll let you talk about him, Ben, because you might feel, I don't know, maybe you're not going to end up with him in your core play. I'm going to trust the ankle thing. I mean, I just feel like his price is still very fair. I feel like 6,100. He's looking at 8 to 10 catches today and probably 100 yards. I'm playing him, but I'll let you talk about some of the other guys. I like T Higgins a lot for some reason. That's your guy, Ben, and he's going low owned this week. I don't know why, but it reminds me of PGA DFS when guys win tournaments in golf. And for some reason, they just don't get ownership the next week because they're hashtag tired or something. I don't get it. T Higgins looks like we're projecting him at 6 to 7% owned. I love that play in tournaments. And then here's another guy. I kind of was hinting towards it. I know, you wrote up Gallup, right? And I'm kind of questioning why he's going to be so high owned. And I see CeeDee Lamb's going to be so high owned. I'll tell you what, man, I love Amari Cooper this week. I don't know if he's going to fit one of my rosters. I'm kind of like playing with it in the flex, but Amari looks like he's going to be 3% owned on a slate where it's like, dude, this is one of the last big slates of the year. Like, I want to win something. I'm going to keep an option for Amari open in the flex because it looks like CeeDee and Gallup are soaking a ton of that ownership. And Amari gets a matchup on Bashaud Breeland this week, it looks like, Ben. And I feel like this is a typical Amari ceiling explosion week. I mean, maybe I'll be wrong by the end of the slate, but that's just something I'm kind of eyeing up. So that being said, I went through a few of the wide receivers. We'll get to the questions here after Ben finishes with some of the wide receivers, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I agree on Amari. I think I really like the Dak double stack in tournaments. So if you want to, you can just pick two of his receivers. So I completely agree. I think that's a fine call. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Cooper Kupp much. I think like someone like Braxton Berrios is gonna be in cash games on DraftKings. So just you don't need to play him in tournaments really.
Yeah,
it's a fine cash game play, but I don't think you need him in tournaments. Courtland Sutton's someone I like a lot. I talked about him on the Thursday podcast, and then we got that news that Judy was going to be out this week. So I think he's a really good play for all formats. And then, yeah, the AB thing still I think is the question of the slate. I don't know what to do with him personally. I think that like he's going to be 50% owned in DraftKings cash games. He's too cheap. You should probably be playing him in cash and just not worrying about it. But at the same time, I don't think he's a must play just because I do think he's legitimately like banged up because he didn't practice Friday. So they're not going to need him, but then you have like the whole like incentive, like bonus thing that, Tom probably wants to get him paid. I don't know. It's a tough situation. I think he's going to be really chalky. I think you should probably play him in cash games, but I don't think he's a must play personally at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I like Jalen Waddle a lot. I'm surprised he's not going to go higher owned. I mean, I think he's 6 or 7 receptions away from a rookie record. I mean, the guy is a freaking Keenan Allen 2.0. I think his price is kind of up there, but I think it's very fair. I'm playing Waddle in one of my main lineups. I mean, I just feel like at this point in the season, what I'm trying to do in 3 max entries, construct some good rosters with some foundational pieces, right? Like I look at Waddle and it's like, I don't even care what the price is. I know I'm going to get 15 to 16 to 17 points. So that's kind of how I like to think in tournaments. And yes, I will sprinkle in some lower owned plays that probably on paper aren't that great, quote unquote, but that's how you win tournaments. But I feel like Waddle is actually going a little bit lower owned than I would have thought. There is a lot of weather today. I see some of those questions coming through. I know people are I feel like there's a lot of weird chalk this week, man. Like, do you feel like that at wide receiver? I mean, again, maybe that's just me. But I'm just trying to pull up our karma projections and sort. Like, again, I mentioned Gallup. Like, I don't know, 20%. Like, that's kind of what started scaring me off about it. I mean, Christian Kirk, I saw Sam wrote him up as a fade. I kind of agree in a way. I mean, 20% Christian Kirk. I mean, you mentioned Braxton Berrios. I am probably playing him in my main lineup, easy fade. DJ Moore is going to be up there in ownership. Like, I get he has a fair price. I actually am playing him in my fantasy playoffs today. But doesn't he have a matchup with Marshawn Lattimore? I mean, Brandon Cooks, I don't really trust him this week coming off COVID, man. Some people are not really kind of all in or all back after COVID. Like, I just feel like there's risk there. There's a lot of guys that are kind of higher owned today that I don't know. It just seems that's why maybe I just like the slate a little bit better, but we'll see. Anything else at wide receiver? I mean, we didn't go through them all, but
No, I mean, yeah, I don't like Gallup as much if he's that high owned, but I think that's interesting because Sutton is 300 cheaper. Like,
yeah,
I feel like more people would want
Sutton's gonna get owned. I mean, he just is.
Sutton, but
That's another
yeah,
one. I gotta admit, Ben.
yeah.
Like just me. I don't know if I trust that in the main lineup. I hear you. It does make sense. The math makes sense. I just I mean, Drew Lock. I mean, I don't know. Just something seems just the Chargers defense secondary. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess he'll probably get there value wise, but I think there's risks. All right, let's finish at tight end. Then we're just going through questions. I'll be quick on my end. I've been saying it in Discord chat all week. Yes, there's cheapy guys. I do like Foster Monroe a lot, actually. As a value play, I really do like him. I think he fits well for today's setup. I'm playing a ton of Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. I love Kelsey's my favorite play of the slate of any position. I'll just leave it at that. I think he absolutely torches this Cincinnati linebacker crew, safety area. He's going to be lower owned than we think. I mean, you're looking at it was 3%. It's kind of creeped up to like 8 to 9, it looks like, in our projections I'm checking out. And I don't know. Mark Andrews scores 35 points a week, and he's going to be 3% owned. So I'm going to play him. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think for cash, like you're probably playing Steven Anderson on DraftKings. It's just, anytime you get a $2,500 tight end, it really just can't hurt you, in my opinion. So you probably play him in cash tournaments. I wouldn't play him. Agree. I like Kelce if I'm spending up. I like Zach Ertz a lot. On the opposite side of that Dallas game, I think he's a good run back with Dak stacks. I think you can just use him in general, especially on FanDuel as well. He's cheap. And then, yeah, Foster Moreau I like a lot as well. I like that call. I think it's a really good matchup against the Colts.
Man, every time you bring up Dak, I keep getting perplexed. My one line of what I want to do. It's because I could go Dak. I have a really nice lineup. I could go Dak with Gallup, who I'm kind of like throwing under the bus, being higher owned. But I could pivot to Lance. That's why I'm keeping the flex spot open. I could go to Lance, a quarterback, and spend up for Cooper and get the ceiling basically on both guys. Like that's kind of how I was thinking about it. Kind of what I was asking Matt in Discord. All right, Ben, why don't you start running through questions and kind of rapid fire so we play a lot of catch up.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, start spamming them right now in the chat. We will get to them. If you
I'll be back in 1 second.
If you missed or something, just spam it in the chat. We will get to it. But we'll start running through these. Are you on Montgomery, Jones, and Michelle on FanDuel? I am on all those guys, but I know he's 10K, but I think Jonathan Taylor's a priority play for me on both sites. So I'll be playing JT on DraftKings and FanDuel, but I have no problems with any of those three running backs. I think they're all good plays. Thoughts on Steven Anderson? Yeah, I just talked about that. I think on DraftKings, he's a lock for me. Cash games, FanDuel. I don't really ever take those punt guys on FanDuel just because you really need touchdowns. It's not PPR. So I would be trying to get up to Moreau or Zach Ertz if you want a cheap tight end on FanDuel. But DraftKings, Steven Anderson definitely is fine. Aaron, Deontay Harris. I think Deontay Harris is good on DK. Wouldn't play him on FanDuel, but minimum price on DraftKings. I kind of was debating him in cash earlier this morning. I don't think I'm going to go that route, but I do have him in one of my three. I think he's fine at 3K. I mean, tough to hurt you if he gets a couple catches. Anthony, do you have any Deontay Harris? He's 3K on DraftKings.
I actually think, hold on, I think he's in my one tournament roster actually, but I might come off him, man. Like like I keep saying in Discord, like what's he gonna do? Get me 9 points? I mean,
yeah.
I will say I was looking at our props. Like he's even projecting a prop, and for a 3K guy to have a prop projected, I mean, he's probably gonna get you there, right? If you want 3x, a good way to think about it is, I don't know if this is making sense to some of you guys, but like, just say Christian McCaffrey's $10,000. You'd probably be happy if he scored 30 points, right? Like you want 3x. And it's the same concept. You just got to think it ass backwards when a guy like Deontay Harris is $3,000, right? If he gets 9, it's the same 3x. You just got to hope the rest of your lineup kind of shakes out. So the answer is, yeah, I'm considering him in tournaments.
It's Tyler Boyd or Gabe Davis. That's tough.
I think you got to go
That is
Boyd,
tough.
though.
Yeah, I would probably take Boyd as well, but it's close. I really like Gabe Davis. I think he's a good player, but that KC game is so good, and none of those guys are projected for like any ownership.
Was Emmanuel Sanders supposed to be out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lions, Higbee, or Saints, Brevin Jordan, and 3 max. I think I would take the first one for sure.
Yeah, same.
Mr. Crowler, heading into the championship and need a win. Start at flex. Zeke, St. Brown, Edmonds, or CeeDee Lamb. I would take CeeDee Lamb of those 4 for sure.
Yeah.
And then
Especially
at
PPR.
and at tight end, Moreau, Fant, Schultz, or Komet. I think I would take Moreau.
Yeah, I mean Schultz probably has obviously.
Yeah, you can make the
upside,
case, but it's a good
I'm
spot, man. Indy struggles against tight ends. Like he's had that every down role. You would assume it's like good game script. I mean, I don't think the Raiders are going to get up big. So
teaser. I shared my core with Ben obviously before we got on, but I'm playing Morneau in my main lineup. I'm actually playing him in my fantasy football playoff. I'm actually going for third place. I got screwed, but it is what it is. Third place is still $500. So I'm playing him in my season long too. So I'm really all in on him this week.
Yeah, Brian's laughing at your sweater, which is funny.
Yeah, obviously.
Is Elijah Mitchell going to get enough volume today? Is it worth favoring? I don't think I would play him, but I do think San Fran's going to run the ball a lot, for sure. But I don't know if I would play Mitchell.
Yeah, season long, I feel like you have to. But, dude, tournaments, I was thinking about it, man. Like, it's probably, of this whole slate today, it's probably the best, sharpest leverage play of the entire slate. There's going to be sharps on DraftKings. 3% owned Elijah Mitchell. He's going to go off for 30 points, and Trey Lance will have like 9. I mean, you can see it now.
Yeah.
The ratings on the wall.
I mean, and I think like just stacking Lance is a good move too, because I would say pretty much everyone playing Lance is him by himself because he's so cheap.
Yeah.
So just putting in Debo's so expensive, no one's playing him. And he like peppered Debo with targets when he started those 2 games earlier. So I think stacking him just makes sense too, because I don't think most people will be doing it. Season long, Philly or Green Bay defense. I would take Green Bay. Dude, Sean Mannion is just horrible, dude. Like, so bad.
Green Bay.
Melissa, what's up? Lockett or Metcalf? Oh man.
You got to go Lockett
I
for
think
the reason of potential last game together.
Yeah, probably Lockett. McLaurin or Kirk for season long?
Kirk, no question. Not even a debate.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Terry, but I mean.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup and tough just situation.
When's the last time Scary Terry scored like 8 fantasy points? I mean, I'm not even looking at this game log, but it's just like I don't even remember the last time he's had like double digits. The more you say it, it's crazy.
Yeah, what's up? Brandon Ayuk mentioned or Jared Patterson. I would probably take Ayuk.
Yeah, always upside.
Singletary, Montgomery, or Michelle Williams for DraftKings cash. I'd probably take the second one. You like the first one? I think it's close, but I mean, I think Michelle's probably my favorite play personally. I would just take him.
Yeah,
I think
it's weird
Singletary and Williams are close.
You and I both know, just watching this Ravens team over the years, like they do stop the run. That is kind of the scary thing with Michelle, but the volume's insane. They're going to be moving down the field. The Rams actually are a run-first team generally, ironically, in the red zone. I mean, I know they score a ton of points, and you see the sexiness with the passing, but yeah, I'm with you, man. Like Michelle is like, I feel like I need out of 3 lineups
I mean,
today.
he's gonna play like every snap basically. He has a huge red zone role. I mean, that kind of outweighs the tough matchup. And like you said, like they're gonna they're going to be moving the ball. It's not like it's a bad team or whatever. So I think it's a good spot. Darrell Williams, Javonte
I didn't hear
Williams,
that
or
second.
Rashad season-long championship. Darrell Williams, Javonte Williams, or Rashad Penny for season-long championship.
Man, you got to go Darrell Williams. He's one of my favorite plays of the slate. He really is. I think he's going lower owned than we think. I mean, I love Darrell Williams today.
Yeah,
like,
I
a
would take
lot.
Darrell Williams as well.
I mean, this is the type of game, Ben, that like Darrell Williams could literally. I mean, of course, he could flop and have 10 points, but I feel like this is the type of slate that he could easily have 35 points. I know that sounds crazy, but you could see him with 6 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown, and in theory, 70 yards rushing in a score too. Like, you never know what the Chiefs are going to do. I mean, it could be just the ground and pound, or I mean, I love Kelsey, but it's a nice hedge off the Kelsey lineup for me.
Yeah, this is from @NFL Stroud on Twitter. Just now. Haven't seen Mike Evans yet, but Antonio Brown was running well and seems to be his energized self.
Oh, baby. I'm overexposed to AB.
Man, I don't know. I mean, if Mike Evans was like not going to play, that would definitely change things for me.
The fact that you're contemplating that, Ben, and I know that you're like a good read on the public as well, just like I am inversely. I like that you're debating that it might not be as much of an awesome play. I think you're maybe overthinking it. I think he's like just freaking lock, for 10 catches and call it 100 yards. I mean, who cares if he scores or not? He's still getting that fire emoji that we so desire when we stare at our DraftKings lineups. I don't see how AB fails. I mean, I do. Again, out of 3 lineups, I got him in 2, so I have 66% ownership on him this week.
Yeah. Gabe Davis or D'Onta Foreman against Miami. I would probably take. I don't know, that's tough.
If it's half point, you got to go Foreman, of course. If it's PPR,
Davis. Knowing me, I play the way I play season long. I would play Gabe Davis, but I don't know. I just play season long exactly like I play DFS. So
yeah,
sometimes that runs me into trouble. But do you like Stephon Diggs with the weather? I do. I like the Bills a lot, man. I don't like the Bills are one of those teams that these guys are used to playing in cold weather. Like I'm not worried really about it for tournaments. They're all going to be low owned. I brought it up on the podcast, but Atlanta is dead last in pressure percentage. Like they literally cannot get pressure on quarterbacks. So it's just a smash spot for the Bills in general. So yeah.
What's their name of the corner? I can't see his name right now, but they actually have a good cornerback who could shut down Diggs a little bit. I mean, that's where I'm at with the Bills. Like, I never get them right, dude. I've told you this year, I played Diggs probably too much. That's maybe my fault. But I've never benefited from these Bills onslaughts. I don't know how, but I never benefit from it. I'm just at the point now where I'm waving the white flag. I see a 14-point spread. I mean, I'm playing Singletary in one of my main lineups. I mean, I think he's going to be somewhat owned, call it 15%, 18%. So it's not like a massive like leverage play, but I think Singletary is like the way to get exposure in the Bills defense in this game for me.
Yeah, we got an OG in the chat here asking a question. Sierra, man, been here from the start.
What up?
He wants to know our thoughts about. I don't have any, but some of my friends that I consider smart DFS like AJ Brown. So what are your thoughts on him?
Man, I like him actually somewhat a lot, and I was trying to make him work in my lineup, but again, ultimately, Ben, me, I'm a sucker for. Call it the Coors Field effect in baseball. Like, that's the best analogy, right? Like, I am the sucker for if I got to make something work, I'm taking the higher game totals, the higher pace. I mean, I have Waddle in that game. I guess I could try and fit AJ Brown, but he's just not fitting in any of my lineups right now. And I've been burned by AJ Brown a ton in the past. Like, yes, I've had some of his ceiling games, but I mean, I'm not playing him in DFS. But I mean, he could explode. Xavier Howard's there, right? I mean, again, anytime like I have somewhat of a mismatch on the defensive side of corner, like I'll downgrade a guy in my head, regardless of what the projection says, kind of like what I'm doing with Diggs a little bit, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. And then someone asked AJ Brown versus CD. I like CD Lamb more personally. I think it's a really, really good spot for CD.
He's got a tough match.
And for what it's worth,
CD does.
Yeah, his his yardage line on Prize Picks
Yeah, I
is like
saw.
58.5 is way too low.
CDs is? CDs is 58 and
Yeah,
a
it's
half, you're
50 and a
saying?
half at one point.
Oh my God. I mean,
I
that's
think it still is. I can't check, but I think it still is.
speaking
If
of
someone
Prize
can look
Picks.
at Prize Picks and see if it is,
I
and
love
post in the
Prize Picks.
chat, because I
Obviously,
think it is.
I love them. I love them. They literally are my favorite company I've ever worked with throughout all these years. Um, but the lines are soft there, guys. I mean, I can't tell you some of the amount of winnings we have. And again, Ben and I can't wait till it's legal in Ohio in about 3 months. I mean, it's going to be so fun. But we're still dropping plays ourselves. So that other guys, there's other professional prop guys that are grinding these things 24/7. But man, they had Ronald Jones yesterday at like 56 and a half. Yeah, I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like,
we had a big win yesterday with Jackson Smith and Jigga from Ohio State. I mean, his
oh yeah,
yard line was 104 and a half. He had that at halftime. It was easy. But
amazing.
all right, let's back to the questions. Kevin,
10
FanDuel
more
wide
minutes.
receiver plays. Yeah, 10 more minutes. We'll go rapid fire. FanDuel wide receiver plays for me. Top 2 plays on FanDuel wide receiver. Tyreek Hill, way too cheap. I'm playing him. CeeDee Lamb, way too cheap. I'm playing both of them.
Wow, Tyreek Hill's 8,200 on
Yeah, he's
FanDuel. I love
8,200. What are they doing?
it. Oh
Ridiculous.
my God.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue that. Wow.
yeah,
I mean,
ridiculous.
and it's more of
Sony
a
or Mitchell?
Sony. I
Sony
mean,
for
it's not
sure.
even,
Yeah,
yeah,
not close. Not
Sony.
close. Question of the slate: are we playing Falcons or Jets defense? I am weirdly spending
What?
up. I am weirdly spending up for defense today. I never do it. I'm spending up for D today.
What do you playing?
I have Patriots right now. I like the Bills in the weather game against the Dome team coming there.
Yeah,
That the
I
Bears
got
are
the
going to be
Bills right
chalky.
now.
I like to spend up. I mean, dude, I feel like the Patriots weirdly are like guaranteed 10 points, and that never happens. But Bill owns rookie quarterbacks. I mean, the Jaguars are just terrible. I don't know. Oh, now some people like your sweater, Anthony. They're not making fun of it.
Thank you, dude. Look at this
Some
thing.
people
This
like
is like you got the brownie elf here going on. I mean, it's everything. Like, yes, we need the Rams and we need the Chiefs, and then we control our own destiny. Let's go.
All right. Fantasy championship: Eckler, Swift, Mitchell, and Ronald Jones. Got to play 3 of them. I would just fade Swift, I think.
He's a really tough play to slate. We didn't talk about him at all, but I'm playing him in my season long. Obviously, I have to. I feel like he could break the slate.
I think you're
but
playing Eckler and you're playing Rojo of those 4. Like you're playing both.
yeah,
of them. So then
yeah.
you're picking
But
between Swift and Mitchell. I think I would play Mitchell, but I guess it's a
man, see, if it's
conversation.
PPR, you got to play Swift, in my opinion. If it's PPR, I don't know if it is or not, but yeah, Swift. We didn't talk about him at all, Ben. Like this guy is going to go pretty low owned. I mean, he could legit have 7 to 8 catches today. I mean, obviously he'll get his 60 yards rushing, but I'm scared to fade him right now. I don't have him in a lineup. I was debating it for a while, but again, I'm kind of keeping that flex open just to see what happens in the 1 o'clock games.
Yeah, CJ's on a cruise watching us. That's good.
Wow.
I am not on a cruise.
That's living good right there. Watch out for COVID.
Yeah. Everett, Uzoma, or Komet at tight end. I think I'd take Uzoma.
Uzoma for me.
Damian Harris, Sony Michel, Christian Kirk, Amon-Ra St. Brown, pick 2 for half PPR. This is from Luke, our NASCAR guy. I would say Sony. Maybe Christian Kirk. Definitely Sony. Sony for sure. It's like a lock.
I saw someone ask, I don't know if they said, is Barrios a must play? I mean, no, but I'm playing him in my main lineup. I'm not playing him in my tournament roster. So, I mean, that's just how I would go about it.
Yeah, I actually, I don't know. I might get off him at this point. I might have to look. I have like a 2v2 I'm debating on DraftKings, but if I'm going to play AB, I might get off Barrios. I don't know. We'll have to see what's going on.
I mean, Ben, we're projecting him at Bet Karma for about 5 catches at 3,700. It's pretty hard for me to get off him. I mean, in a PPR format, you're guaranteed almost 8, 9, 10 points. Like, yeah, that might not be sexy, but I trust him more than like the Deontay Harrises of the world this week for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that. You playing wide receiver in the flex this week? No, I think this is 3 running back week because there's too many good plays.
It's actually a really good question, though. Again, I like to talk from a 3 max entry perspective, and it changes week to week. But this being one of the last big slates, I'm trying to force 3 running backs in my main lineup. I'm going double tight end. I'm not shy about it. I've told our subscribers all week. I'm going Kelsey and Mark Andrews in one because that is just different, and that'll get me unique ownership. And then in another, I'm probably going 4 wide receivers. So I'm trying to get a little sprinkle of everything this week.
Yeah, some other people ask about defense. I don't like any of these cheap defenses this week. That's why I'm fine spinning up.
Lions are probably the only cheap one I'd consider.
Like I feel like normally there's like I would be cool with Lions, but normally there's like a 2,200 defense or something that you could stomach. Like I just don't even like any of these cheap ones. I don't know.
So Ben,
Anthony,
keep talking about Braxton Berrios, but I'm looking at Bet Karma right now. This is why I love the site, and we are projecting him.
No, dude, he's a good play.
Half points right now, or 52.5 yards on top of the 5 receptions. I mean, it's good floor.
Yeah, he's a good play for sure for cash. Anthony, question for you: do you like Darrell Williams over Michelle?
No, but I love the tournament leverage. I mean, that's an easy flip from Michelle in tournaments to Darrell Williams, which I think I actually have in one of my main rosters. Is that exact flip? Yeah, I do. I have Darrell Williams paired with Jonathan Taylor. So
McLaurin or Devonta Smith? I would take Devonta Smith.
Yes, same here.
KJ Osborne, Tony Pollard, or Rex Burkhead for flex PPR?
Half point, I think you just have to roll with Pollard. I mean, that's where I would be. I mean,
you could use Rex. You cannot play Osborne with the quarterback situation, so that's out of the picture. I would probably take Pollard too, but I don't know. I don't mind Burkhead, I guess.
Final couple minutes here. Any last questions? Get them in. And final reminder, you can find all of our work. Again, not just NFL guys. We got PGA starting next week. Obviously, NBA just never stops. Then we'll have MLB. We got a lot of things going on at dfskarma.com. Content, core plays, cheat sheets, projections portal, the content, the premium stuff, the game theory, then Bet Karma. I mean, right now I'm staring at DFS on one screen and then Bet Karma on the other. I'm looking at, I was just telling Ben, our props comparison tool. We have our new Prize Picks predictor tool. That's actually free. Bet Karma right now. There's our tops props, our odds comparison. I study the odds comparison all week for NFL. Literally, it's like the first thing I refresh each week just to see how the lines are moving and get my head in the game for both DFS and actual betting markets. Any final questions?
Is Cup a lock DraftKings cash? I think he is personally, but
yeah. Yes.
I don't know. That's me. I just don't see why you wouldn't want to play him. And then you can see the link in the chat for Jock Market. We at DFS Karma, we're the best Jock Market players in the industry. You can get in the Discord. You can get access to like who we're playing. If you guys don't know what it is, it's basically like the stock market. You buy shares of players. You don't have to deal with some of the normal stuff that you do playing DraftKings FanDuel. It's a really fun app, really fun concept. You can use promo code KARMA, get a $50 deposit bonus for signing up there.
Yeah. Speaking of Jock, like we don't always just get on here and massage our partners. I mean, yes, we are affiliate partners with these companies, but when you want to start growing your bankroll and get serious about things, like DFS is saturated. We still love it. We still play it, but you're going to actually make your money on the Jock Markets, on the Prize Picks, on the Monkey Knife Fights. I mean, that's where the edge is at the very moment. So seriously, give it a shot. Hop in our Discord. We got a bunch of guys putting content in there. A bunch of guys actually like T-Rex. I mean, that guy, every time I log into that forum, he's winning thousands of dollars. Even Travis is dominating. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like it's a very soft market.
Travis is like Travis is crushing Jock Market. It's insane.
Could you play Darrell and Sony in the same lineup? Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Yeah, and then someone asked about like end game. I don't care about that for cash. Like, I don't care about playing Sony and Cup together in cash, like, I don't care. And if you look at last week, the Rams offense wasn't even. They still both scored, 25
Yeah,
DraftKings points,
I
like
have
each of
no
them,
problem
and then
doing
the
that
offense
either.
has been playing good. So
I
I
mean,
just
dude, I'm
don't.
playing
I
Ronald
don't care
Jones
about
and
that for cash.
AB, Sony and Cuff. I mean, I have 4 guys on 2 teams, so no problem with that at all in cash games. All right,
Yep.
Ben, any final takeaways for this slate before we enter our cores and get going and finishing our final stuff at dfskarma.com?
Yeah, thank you guys for all the questions today. My cores are posted currently, dfskarma.com/pricing. If you want to see exactly who I'll be playing in my lineups today, you can see Anthony, Matt, who, like Anthony said, has won, I don't know, close to $200,000 this NFL season alone. Bales, Sam, everyone. It's one of the best deals in the industry. We do the work for you. You guys can just log on Sunday morning and win some money.
Good luck, guys. Peace.